For the last 2 years, the entire world has been watching the wrong metal. Wall Street analysts have been obsessed with lithium. They have chased cobalt. They have loaded up on copper. They looked at the electric vehicle revolution and made a simple assumption. Cars need wires. Wires are made of copper. Therefore, copper demand will explode. It sounded logical. It sounded obvious. It sounded inevitable. And it was wrong. Because while analysts were busy publishing reports about copper shortages and supply deficits, the most innovative company on Earth was quietly rewriting the rules of physics inside the automobile. While Wall Street was looking at spreadsheets, Elon Musk and Tesla's engineers were redesigning the entire nervous system of the car. They came to a brutal conclusion. Copper is heavy. Copper is expensive. Copper is inefficient. And that realization led to a decision that shocked the global auto industry. The death of the 12-volt system with the launch of the Cybertruck. Tesla did something no major automaker had dared to do for nearly 70 years. They killed the 12-volt system. Every car on the road, from a 1955 Chevy to a 2020 Toyota, had relied on 12 volts. It was good enough. Safe, cheap, reliable. But good enough is no longer good enough when cars become computers on wheels. So Tesla replaced it with a 48-volt architecture. The media dismissed it as a cost-cutting move. They said it saved copper. They said it reduced weight, and they were right. But they missed the most important part. They ignored the law of physics that comes with higher voltage. The problem nitrogen monoxide, one talked about arcing when you quadruple voltage. You don't just gain efficiency, you create danger. At 48 volts, electricity does not politely stop when a switch opens. It jumps. It creates an arc. A spark, a miniature lightning bolt. That arc reaches temperatures of thousands of degrees in a fraction of a second. If the contacts are copper, they pit, degrade, and melt. If they are brass, they weld shut. The switch fails. The relay fails. The car fails. Now imagine that failure happening in a steer-by-wire system, or during autonomous braking, or at highway speed. For Tesla, that risk was unacceptable. They needed a material that could survive the arc. There is only one metal that can do it. On the entire periodic table, there is exactly one metal capable of handling repeated high-voltage arcing without catastrophic failure. Silver. Silver has the highest electrical conductivity of any element. It has the highest thermal conductivity. And even when it oxidizes, it remains conductive. Tesla did not install silver bars in the car. They used silver tin oxide alloys, the industry standard for high voltage, high reliability switching. Look at the datasheets from TE Connectivity. Look at Bosch. Look at high voltage automotive relays. When systems move from 12 volts to 48 volts, the contact material changes. Copper alloys are no longer sufficient. Silver becomes mandatory. Every window switch, every braking relay, every power distribution node. The entire electrical nervous system is tipped, plated, or bonded with silver. This is not a thrifting scenario. You cannot cheap out on safety. You cannot negotiate with thermodynamics. Tesla saved 50 pounds of copper and replaced it with ounces of silver. They traded a cheap, abundant base metal for a scarce, strategic, precious metal. If this were just Tesla, the market could absorb it. Tesla builds about 2 million vehicles a year. But Tesla doesn't just build cars. Tesla sets standards. And when Tesla proved that 48 volts saves weight, saves money, and improves efficiency, the rest of the industry panicked. Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Volkswagen, they all reached the same conclusion. We have to do this. Tesla even shared its 48-volt architecture playbook because they want the entire industry to switch. Why? Because standards build supply chains. Now this is no longer about 2 million cars. This is about 90 million vehicles produced globally every year, gradually transitioning to 48 volts. Now let's do the math historically. A gasoline car uses 15 to 20 grams of silver. A standard EV uses 30 to 40 grams. Now add 48-volt architecture, steer-by-wire intelligent e-fuses. That puts modern 48-volt EVs at 50 to 60 grams of silver per car, nearly 2 full ounces. 2 ounces doesn't sound like much. Until you multiply it. Assume only 50% adoption by 2028. 45 million cars times 20 grams equals 900 million grams. That is roughly 29 million ounces of new annual demand. And that's the conservative case. Push autonomy further? Increase redundancy? Now you're looking at 50 to 100 million ounces per year. That is more than the total silver production of the United States. Tesla has effectively created a ghost country of demand. Now look at supply, and IT gets worse. Here's the secret most investors don't understand. Silver is not primarily mined for silver. About 72% of global silver supply comes as a byproduct of mining zinc, lead, copper, and gold. This creates a nightmare called inelastic supply. Silver prices can triple, and supply may still fall. Why? Because if zinc prices collapse, zinc mines shut down. And when zinc mines shut down, silver disappears with them. Even at $100 silver, miners cannot simply dig faster. Grades are falling, costs are rising. Exploration budgets are gone. It takes 10 to 15 years to bring a new mine online. Tesla needs silver next year. The timeline is broken. The geopolitical choke point, where does North America get its silver? Mexico. Mexico produces roughly 25% of global supply. But Mexico is embracing resource nationalism. New mining permits are blocked. Taxes and royalties are rising. Concessions are under review and refining. Much of it happens in China. Silver sent to China rarely comes back. China will keep it for BYD. This creates a regional premium. Silver in Texas will be worth more than silver in London. You cannot teleport metal fast enough to keep an assembly line running. The auto industry is price inelastic. If silver goes from $50 to $500 per ounce, a $50,000 car becomes a $50,900 car. The assembly line does not stop. The consumer barely notices. We've seen this before. Rhodium went from $2,000 to $30,000 and automakers paid it. Silver is next, but silver's market is much larger. How investors position, this is not about any silver miner. This is about North American primary silver assets, Nevada, Idaho, British Columbia. These mines unlock tax credits. They are politically secure. They are strategically priceless. And in a supply panic, Tesla will not just buy silver. They will buy miners. A single stake announcement can mean a 10 revaluation overnight. Physical silver? That's insurance? Technology boom? Silver wins. Currency collapse? Silver wins. There is no losing scenario. Final summary: Tesla moved to 48 volts to save copper. Physics forced them to use silver. The industry is copying the standard. Demand increases by tens of millions of ounces. Supply cannot respond. Automakers will pay any price. The conclusion is unavoidable. The silver bomb has detonated. The shockwave just hasn't reached the price chart yet. When you see headlines about auto shortages next year, remember this. It's not chips. It's the silver contacts inside the chips. You now have the information. The 48-volt revolution is here. Make sure you're powered up.